Hello and welcome back to the Battle Room. I'm, of course, the Battle Room, and today I'm joined by Raghav. How you doing, buddy?
Colin, I'm doing amazing. I made a delicious hearty stew for dinner, and we have a delicious, nutritious video for you today. Heading into the new regulation, we need something informative to get you ready for Regulation I. What are we doing today, Colin?
So today we're not doing just the normal tier list. No. We're not ranking every restricted. Instead, we are ranking every restricted duo. Not every duo because there's a lot of bad ones. There's a lot of bad
A
ones.
lot of poop.
Yeah, like Kira Miraidon, I just don't think you're going to be playing against it. So we went through and picked out the most likely ones. Obviously, there are probably a couple more that we're missing that like have fringe viability, right? Like I think Groudon Calyrex is a good example where it's like, hey, maybe, right? Like just maybe it probably could go positive, right? But it's not winning a tournament, and we're looking at what's winning tournaments. So right off the bat, we got kind of a crazy one. I wanted to open up with a little bit of spice here. So we got Koraidon and Ho-Oh. At first, Raghav did say, why are we even ranking this? And my counterpoint was this did get top 16 at the World Championships.
Yeah, no, so it has some usage. Top 16 is huge, especially at Worlds. It's a top cut, something that I've never been able to do. So
Yeah.
honestly, I'm gonna put respect on its name. I also think our good friend Michael Zhang, Eternal Snowman, was testing it for a while. And so there's gonna be at least one top player who believed in it, at least two actually, with that top 16 finish. So I think it's worth being tiered. I'm thinking maybe C or B because I still don't think it's very easy to pick up. It's not very flexible, but if you get the absolute perfect formula, you can take it to the highest level.
Yeah, and I think the big thing about this type of team is it's very, very matchup fishy, right? Like, it has some really horrid matchups, but some of the matchups, like if you get CSR Zamazenta or you get Koraidon CSR, you just win the game. Like, you're just winning every single time, right? Like, Ho-Oh completely walls Koraidon. It also walls Zamazenta, and it also does really, really well in the Shadow Rider because it's amazing special defense and regenerator.
Yeah.
So, like, low key, he's good in like those are two of the best archetypes in my opinion too, right? Like the best duos.
Yeah.
So I do think having that matchup alone does allow Ho-Oh to get a little more respect on its name if you do pull them, right? I do think though, like if you're looking for consistency, you're looking to win the tournament, these probably aren't the guys for you. But if you're like, hey, I really hate Shadow Rider and I really want to beat Shadow Rider Koraidon, Shadow Rider Zamazenta, then this is for you. I think it's kind of fun. I think there is some depth. It's very underexplored, so I do think like it is probably C, maybe D. Obviously, our tier list is going to be a little bit different because there would be a ton of Pokemon in D, like all these guys, but we don't have those. So like D doesn't mean it's like not. It's not D for dog shit. It's like D for
I
like
think it's
not
D
great.
for it should be deleted. Like I think maybe we shouldn't even have it. Everything here is C or higher, really.
Okay, then I think we should delete the D. There we
It has
go.
been done.
There's no D's anymore.
Yeah.
So all right,
And
C.
one thing though that this duo has for it is like if you're gonna use Ho-Oh, this is the only way to really run it. Like we saw Miraidon Ho-Oh, and like I get what you're trying to do. It makes sense on paper, but I really think the sun is really important for it. And Koraidon's just way better of a partner than Groudon because it's not weak to Kyogre. And yeah, I think this is like the synergistic duo for Ho-Oh specifically.
Yeah. So next up we have Terapagos Miraidon, which is kind of a funky duo, but one we did see have some success, like and really big success, right? I believe it got top 4 at a regional, maybe top 8, and then it did get top
NAIC, dude.
at NA. Well, no, before NAIC it got top cut, but then at NAIC it also got top 8. It did lose in top 8, so it's clearly got some sauce, and I do find it super, super annoying to play against. The Miraidon is just so slippery, and then the Terapagos just sets up on you, and the fucking Electric Seed, it gets so bulky. It's kind of a neat combination, and I do think that, I'm not going to say it's underexplored necessarily, because I do think the version that was being used was probably one of the better ones, but I do think there's some creativity to look at here. Where are you feeling for this one? What do you feel about this archetype?
I think it's a really, really unique combo, but it is one that like you have to master it, and if you master it, you have to make basically the same moves almost every time. And it can take you really far, but because it's so difficult and so like static, I'm gonna give it a B tier.
Okay. I think that's fair. It's definitely better than Ho Koraidon. I do think,
Oh, yeah.
unfortunately, like, because this is an interesting time we're in, because we moved on from Worlds. We had the best players in the world trying their absolute hardest to win the tournament. So we kind of got to see like what is the best of the best, and now we're going kind of backwards, right? Like we're going back to regionals and then more regionals. So it's going to be interesting to see, because I do think Worlds was clearly the Koraidon show. There were 3 out of 4 of top 4 was Koraidon teams with all different partners. So I think Koraidon's very interesting, and I think if Koraidon's very good, I don't think Terapagos is having a great time.
No, exactly. It is really about like what is the meta favoring at the moment. Because at Worlds, yeah, like this Miraidon Terapagos combo didn't do as well, but it crushed it at NAIC and you know prior events, just because there was so much CSR, so much Calyrex-Ice Miraidon. And so yeah, the format's always changing, and Worlds was only one format, one tournament, but it is what you know the biggest one. It's what we're going off of right now, and so I think this B tier is perfect for it.
Yeah, and then next up we have Calyrex-Shadow plus Terapagos as well. This one's kind of weird. I mean, it's not weird because it's just kind of feels like it's solved, right? It's like they're very good together. It's usually a very fake out, follow me centric team. Like usually, I think it's like almost always like 2 fake outs, 2 follow me's, and then the 2 restricteds, right? Like there isn't too much creativity with it, because it is just like a protect the president type of team, right? Like it's like Terapagos is setting up, and I hope he's enough. Like I literally was, for the last video I made, I was looking at spreads of Jude's Terapagos team, which is like probably one of the best Terapagos. He is probably the best Terapagos Calyrex-Shadow player in the world. And his team even had a Ogre Pawn that was just max speed, and then it just had HP and defense, right? Like it literally didn't have an attack investment at all. So it's kind of interesting that like it's just all bulk. Everything had a defense boosting nature outside of Ogre Pawn and Calyrex. So it's just kind of a nuts team. It's just like so tanky and just so hard to deal with. But I do feel like, again, like you mentioned with the last one, it's very static in what it's trying to do, and is very predictable.
I think it's exactly the same as the last one, honestly. And at Worlds, it did do slightly better than the Miraidon version. So I think on like for that reason, we should probably keep it B tier as well. And I think both of these just have like a very difficult time into the current meta trend. You know, the current Koraidon craze we have. I think both of these peak at B. Like there's no way we can put them higher.
Yeah, and then next up we have kind of a crazy one here. You didn't want to include this one, but I've been watching. I keep my finger on the pulse of the in-game ladder meta. Usually I just see a ton of tweets. It's usually how I keep up with it. But for whatever reason, I feel like, because Japan takes the in-game ladder very seriously, and they've really liked Koraidon plus Terapagos. It's kind of an interesting combination. Usually the Terapagos is much more aggressive in nature here, and I think it's just kind of designed to punish. A lot of Pokemon do need a Terra in front of Koraidon, or Koraidon just puts out so much damage that Terapagos can clean up. So it's a very interesting combination. I think it's probably going to end up in C, but I do think it kind of deserves to be on the list. It's kind of interesting. It's underexplored for sure.
I'm absolutely with you. I do. It's kind of coming back to me now. I have played this duo. Like, I played it quite a few times on ladder last time. And it is really annoying. It is difficult to manage both threats, and I agree with you. It's a C tier. I don't think it's fully been maybe solved just because it's kind of unintuitive. But yeah, I think C tier. If it's worth putting on the list, it's C tier.
Yeah. And next up we have Shadow Rider Miraidon. So now we're done with Terapagos. He's whatever. It's Shadow Rider time. And Shadow Rider Miraidon, I feel like is kind of weird, because I feel like it never was super popular, but at Worlds there was an influx of this duo together, specifically with the Draining Kiss. Like I think it was the Calm Mind one, right? Like you would kind of use Miraidon to snarl them down or just threaten KOs while Shadow Rider set up, and then it was usually paired with like something like Clefairy. So it was a very interesting team, like putting on a lot of pressure with Volt Switch on Choice Scarf Miraidon, and then Shadow Rider can set up with the Intimidate or the Friend Guard coming in. I'm not sure. I feel like it was very threatening and very scary to a lot of the top teams, but it just didn't perform super duper well. There was a couple in top 16, but yeah, it didn't.
The top 16 is huge though.
Yeah, I mean, we have Koraidon.
Yeah, and I think I think so. To get top 16 and it lost to the eventual world champion, right? And
Hmm.
I think the thing about this duo is that it has just auto wins. Like sometimes you just can't break this Draining Kiss Calyrex, and
Hmm.
it was actually using Nasty Plot, so it sets up
Okay.
fast enough. And with the bulk of Parting Shot, Instant, Intimidate, and Clefairy, and you have to deal with the Scarf Miraidon threat as well. I think it is just like into certain matchups you just can't break it, right? And so
Yeah.
for that reason. I think it's better than C tier. I think it is a E tier still.
It needs to be here. Okay.
I
It's
think it's
definitely.
why it's better than those guys, but I
Oh,
don't
for
think it's
sure.
quite A.
I agree with you. Yeah, it's kind of a weird team, and I do think we'll see it moving forward. I think it's a team that will not necessarily be on people's radars right away, but I think the minute this thing starts like going deep at a regional, which I think it definitely can, it's going to be a top tier team once again. Maybe sneaking into A, but I do think it's kind of similar in a way to. I mean, I guess a lot of the teams in this format are similar, like to like, hey, I'm going to set up, and you're going to have to respect me, or I'm gonna lose, right? Like I'm just gonna try to set
Yeah,
up, and if I don't set up correctly or fast enough, I will lose, and that's how it is. So, um, yeah, I
that's
think it,
restricted.
yeah, that's restricted, and I think Shadow Rider inherently is that kind of restricted, right? Like it tries to get going, and we didn't see that restricted that the setup Shadow Rider do. I mean, it did well at Worlds, like a top 8. I'm not gonna like downplay it, but it didn't like go as deep, and it didn't win, which I think a lot of people thought it would.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we have Calyrex-Shadow and Koraidon, a duo that honestly didn't have enough respect going into Worlds, but it absolutely performed.
Hmm.
It got second at Worlds. I believe it also made top 8 with Mauharada.
He did. Hmm.
Just a phenomenal finish for this duo, and I think it's super potent. I think this might be our first A tier.
I agree with you. I think this duo is also like there's so many routes you can go, right? Like I feel like James Evans got second place with it, but his team felt like a much
Kind of wild.
more it was a wild one. It definitely felt very reactionary and just kind of like, hey, all my guys deal damage. I'm not about. He didn't even have nasty plot. Like there was no setup whatsoever, and it was just like, hey, I got the best supports in the game. I got the best attackers in the game. Let's do some fucking damage, right? But then Mao's team was like a completely different take on it, where it was much more like focused on setting up nasty plots and protecting it with Clefairy, protecting both of them with Clefairy, and it felt like a much more like balanced, slower paced version, right? So I think these two have a ton of depth. I think they could. I think there's probably versions of this team that we haven't seen yet. I think this is a really good core, and obviously got second at Worlds. So I think I don't want to say I don't think it's S, but I think in the future, who knows? I think
Maybe.
Koraidon is one of the best Pokemon in the game, if not one of the best restricteds, and I think he's so versatile and just so flexible with so many mons. Just I think partially just because of photosynthesis. So there's just so many partners you can pair him with, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this one is definitely A, and I think this one's got a bright future ahead of it. Because I think, like I said, it wasn't super explored prior to this tournament.
No, I agree with you entirely. You put it beautifully, honestly, Colin.
Thank you, man.
I think, like you said, it's super, super broad. Like you can run it many different ways, and Koraidon's just you can go the Flutter Mane route, where you have
Hmm.
Flutter Mane, Chi-Yu or something, or you could do the Raging Bolt, Brute Bonnet shit that James Evans was doing, and then you just have CSR, which is the best Pokemon in the format. It's like actually satanic, and so I can't see it being lower than A tier.
No, yeah, I think CSR is just so good, and like we talk about how flexible it is, but it really is like the CSR could be. You could probably run like specs with this. I mean, I wouldn't, but you could, right? You could run,
Yeah,
you could
you
run
could. You could.
Sash, you could run Life Orb. The synergy is just there, and I think Fluttermane, like you mentioned, it could function with CSR Koraidon. I don't see why it couldn't, right? Like, who cares that we have
Yeah.
double Ghost types? It just gives you that really good speed control. So, I think this is a great combo, and I think it's a little bit more aggressive than the next one we're going to talk about. But like it's like the offensive version of
Yeah,
CSR's
the
ammo.
actually,
Yeah.
now that you said it, like the really offensive, like weird route, we saw James Beck get 10th at Worlds with Reggie Alecki CSR Koraidon. Like you can go like full offense, And then he had
Mhm.
three kind of bulky little boys as the glue, but the potential is there. Like you could end the game in 2 turns.
Yeah, and I mean both these Pokemon deal so much damage, right? Like CSR is like the strongest Pokemon ever with Astro Brush, and then Koraidon, his single target damage is off the charts, right? Like if you're running, even if you're not running Life Orb, even just Clear Amulet,
It's on Blitz, bro.
yeah, the
That's it.
Terrifier Flare Blitz is all you need, and you're doing like half the Kyogre in the sun, probably more. So
100%.
Yeah, I think this is like the aggressive version, but now we gotta talk about these guys. These two were like when this format came out, they were debuted as the biggest threats in the game, right? Like
Yeah.
these two were. It was like, dude, the game's over. Like I don't even know why we're showing up to tournaments because these two are gonna win everything. I remember it was like. It was going nuts in the discords in the chats. Everyone was freaking out about these two Pokemon, and they didn't even win Worlds. They suck.
Yeah, I mean, what I have to say about this duo is like, I, as soon as the regulation I like ended, I stopped going to therapy, and I have booked a session again because they're back, dude. They're back.
They are.
They say there's just a little game. It's just no, they can hurt you, and these guys are definitely S tier because it is
Yeah.
absolutely the strongest duo in the game. They just cover each other so perfectly, and like any matchup is playable. Like any matchup is truly playable because CSR is so broken, and Zamazenta having access to wide guard, being like unable to be intimidated, it's just so fat, dude. Like I truly think this is the most consistent archetype. Might not win every tournament because a lot of people, there's a lot of good people in the community and they don't want to be evil, so they're trying to beat it. But it is truly the most powerful.
I think what's kind of interesting too is like when you think about the way the game develops and the way people like push archetypes forward, some people just like certain things, right? And I feel like
Yeah.
like we don't see as many people playing Koraidon CSR because not many people like using them together, right? Like there's not that many Koraidon CSR players, but CSR Zamazenta, they've got plenty of shooters, dude. There's so many people who will reinvent this team and try to make it better, right? Whether it's the balance version or we saw Mont whip out this like I like it was just like
Baby
five.
Pow.
Yeah, it was just like five hard-hitting Pokemon and an Amoonguss, right? And it was,
Yeah.
and Mont isn't really that type of player. I feel like Mont is traditionally much more focused on setting up and balance, but he was like, no, 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 these two are so good, I'm gonna try using it differently, and it worked. He got top 4 at Worlds, so I feel like there's so many people who will try to reinvent this core. It didn't necessarily win Worlds, but I'm sure it will win a regional, and someone's gonna push it to a new direction, right? Like it's always reinventing itself, and these two Pokemon can just fit with so many, dude. Like the balance route, the offense route, they're just so good, dude.
It is infinitely malleable and also
Hmm.
infinitely malicious. I
It
hate the
is.
shit, but it is the strongest.
It is probably the strongest. Next up, we got, I mean, a duo that I wouldn't have predicted to be one of the best duos and the most consistent in Regulation I in Lunala and Miraidon.
Yeah, I think I also did not expect Lunala to be so good, but
Yeah.
double restricted in particular is is really good for it, just being able to have a partner, being able to have that electric seed with Miraidon particularly. And
Hmm.
I think personally, this is my opinion, I believe it is S tier.
I think so too.
I
I
think
agree.
yeah, it won NAIC, it absolutely dominated the early format, and I think it's just so flexible. Like it's basically solved, right?
Hmm.
Kosuke, I think, was the highest performing
He was.
Miraidon Lunala at Worlds, and he made just the slightest change. He put Life Orb on Miraidon, probably some noteworthy spreads that aren't public or that I'm not aware of right now, but I think that's all you need. I think that this duo gives you a lot of room to outplay your opponent, and that's all you can really ask for in a format that's so like full of heavy hitters.
Right, and like the pieces that the team is traditionally known for are just so strong. The mode switching of Trick Room with Lunala and Tailwind with Whimsicott is so fucking annoying, so hard to play against, right? And then they also can just lead Lunala Miraidon, and the last two Pokemon completely shift how you need to approach it, and you just don't know what they are. And they're just gonna smack
Yeah.
you with a ton of damage, right? Like the duo themselves just being led is so potent. We also saw it get second at Japan Nats as well. Multiple top 8s. It won the Milwaukee Regionals. Like this duo has just been so good, and it fell off a little bit, like you mentioned. Ko did have some really cool attacks to try and like push it further. He also had 29 Speed IV Lunala, so it was always slower than the other Lunala. I thought that was pretty
That's
interesting.
crazy. I did not know that.
Yeah, I looked at
That's
his
really
pace the other
smart.
day. Yeah, yeah. So he just had like really small things, and I really do think that like that those 6 Pokemon are so broken together that you can just make those small adjustments little by little to improve matchups. Or I feel like it's just a team of just spamming games, and you'll master it and learn it, and that's what those players have done.
Yeah. Loki, these are the two, like, the devil and the angel on your shoulder, right? Like, we got CSR Zama being the devil, and we got Miraidon Lunala as the angel, right? Like, those two are the main ways. Like, I think they're, like, absolutely foils for each other. And I think for that reason, they're also the strongest. You can obviously go a different route. There's so many benefits to that. But I think these two are the strongest restricted duos in the format.
Yeah, and then next up we have, I mean, we have Miraidon Kyogre. I just don't. Should we even rank these guys? Like, I feel like,
I'm gonna be honest, Colin, that slipped through the cracks.
yeah, because I know you mentioned putting them there, but I think they need.
Did
to be
I
put
say that, dude? I think I totally we blanked on that one. I think we forgot to remove it.
Yeah, I think we might have because those guys are not. Not. I mean, I'll say one sentence on them. They're kind of cool in an HO like way, like hyper offense, just putting pressure with like Tailwind or something. But that's kind of where it ends. It's probably like a GC tech, so no need to talk about that. Next up, we got double bikes. A really weird one. Probably definitely a C tier. They're kind of crazy. They kind of work together. It's kind of interesting, and I do think there is probably a double bike team that we have yet to see, because we did see Eternal Snowman use it. Marco used it as well, and also the Wobbuffet went really deep with a Electric Seed Body Press Koraidon that no one really talked about or used afterward.
Balls, what?
It's really sick because for whatever reason, Orichalcum Pulse, Koraidon's ability boosts physical moves, so it actually boosts body press. So with the Electric Seed, with the body press, this guy's it's hitting harder than like close combat, right? Like it's actually going insane. But we haven't seen much of it, and I do think there's like a depth for them that like they're underexplored. They're very underexplored, so I think they could be good.
Yeah, I think it's a hyper offense combo that has the potential to actually like steamroll through a tournament somehow, but I don't think it's like the most consistent thing.
And I don't think good players are necessarily looking into it, so we'll have to see. The next one is kind of a weird combo as well. That's just kind of always been pretty consistent, like in the top 16, right? Like these two, they do okay. They don't win tournaments every time. Sometimes they get like top 4 and they do well. But yeah, I think they're probably. I think they're better than B. I think they're A at the moment.
I am not sure. I'm kind of undecided between A and B. It would be at the absolute top of B. I think I'm gonna lean towards B just because, like you mentioned, it got top 4 at NAIC, huge tournament. But the current like craze of Koraidon is really bad for it.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah, I don't think it's unplayable because Miraidon's such a good Pokemon. But I do think it would normally be a little bit stronger. I think right now it's B tier. It usually has partners that like a Volcarona or something to actually, deal with pesky matchups like opposing Zamazenta. So right now I think it needs a little bit more innovation. It needs a little bit more progression before we can confidently say it's A tier. But I think it's like at the absolute top of B.
Yeah, I think it's a pretty solid combo. Like, I played it a lot, and it felt very fair, almost a little too fair. But you do have two incredible Pokemon, and you still have access to a lot of good moves, right? You have Wide Guard, you have Volt Switch, and the Scarf Miraidon tech was a really, really good addition to this team that I think elevated it. But then, unfortunately for Worlds, it got kind of squashed down.
Yeah, so I think B is pretty good for it.
Yeah. Next up I was gonna say, like, dude, I think we forgot another one, but Zacian is actually kind of good, like annoyingly good. It's really good at sniping certain matchups, and when it gets the matchups it wants to get, kind of like what was the other one that did that? Oh, Ho-Oh Koraidon, right? I feel like it's similar-ish, like in a way, right? Where it's like, hey, if I get to play into something like Koraidon, it does feel very, very good. It's also very, very good into Ice Rider Miraidon. That's the big one that it gets to farm.
Yeah, I think this duo is pretty sneaky. It's like the only Zacian core that I actually think is worth using. And I think it's one of those where not enough players have picked it up for everyone to realize how good it is. I mean, I don't think it's S tier, but I do think it might be a sneaky A, or again, just like at the top of B, just because it is so oppressive. Kyogre, I think people are starting to figure out near the end of the format, and Zacian's just a really, really good partner. It makes it so you can't really be passive around it, especially if it's running like Swords Dance, but it's just a strong, bulky guy.
Yeah, and I think like there is probably a little bit more exploration into the core as well. I think we've seen it's like Amoonguss is usually there, and then there's like a Roaring Moon sometimes. So it is very like, you can tech out the last slots to really help with your matchups. I think it's probably I mean, I'm not sure. Like, with the rise of Koraidon, I think it is kind of good into Koraidon, but it also could be kind of bad into Koraidon at the same time, right? Like, you can force the Terra with Zacian, but then they still might have the Sun, or they are going to hit Kyogre first, and Zacian is walled by fire types, so that part does kind of suck. I do think they just kind of, it's kind of a tricky dance. It's kind of weird, so I think I want to put it at the top of B right now.
I'm with you, and I think honestly we're gonna have a juicy B tier, and I think that's just how the format rolls a little bit. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. Because looking at this next duo, Calyrex-Ice and Kyogre.
Yeah. This one, I use this one at Worlds. I think it's actually very, very good. I think it's, personally, I've used Ice Rider at 2 of the 3 tournaments I attended in this format, and I use Ice Rider Miraidon and Ice Rider Kyogre. I kind of think the days of Ice Rider Miraidon are gone, dude. I think Ice Rider needs to find new friends, and I think Kyogre is a very, very good partner for it. It felt really, really good in testing, and it's just kind of underprepared for. Like, I remember Carrie did very, very well with this team, or with the duo, and then that team was pretty popular, but then we just haven't seen a lot of exploration from it. So I do think that this team has potential, and there's a lot of, like, this one has a lot of depth as well.
Do you think it's quite A tier, or do you think it's still B?
I think a big issue with Kyogre is that it can miss, right? Like, a lot of, if you look at all these restrictors right here, none of them miss. And I think that's why people really like them and lean into them. But Kyogre can miss. And I think, especially with the wide guard phase wide guard is one of the best moves, right? Like, these both have it. I think Kyogre does need to run like a single target water move. I ran triple water move at Worlds, Hydro Pump, Origin Pulse, and Spout. And it felt scary. I think it feels scary. I think that moveset is correct, but I think it gets scary. So I think that alone makes me think it's B. But I think it has very high highs, and I think we could see it easily win tournaments again.
Yeah, I also think in the Weather War, I think Kyogre is actually not favored. I think Koraidon is a little bit better into it, and I think Ice Rider gives you a better chance than Zacian does, but still not feeling confident enough to put it into A tier.
Yeah, because like I remember in prep, Koraidon did get a little bit annoying. You do have tools, you can totally mess with Koraidon, but a lot of the times he can kind of stall your Trick Room, come in the late game, and just blow you up with his speed, right?
Yeah.
So like I do think it's a little scary.
Yeah, and looking at the runs of both the players who top cut with Kyogre at Worlds, so Nick, a good friend Nails, he did lose to the Koraidons he played, and Cedric beat one, but he didn't really play that many. So I think that the matchup is kind of tricky, and you know, we've mentioned it a few times now. Koraidon popped off at Worlds. I just feel like it is here to stay right now. It is the flavor of the format, and I think it's just not good enough right now into that core, so we're gonna leave it at B. But next up we have, what's up?
I said I like that. I like leaving it at B.
Yeah, I think. But next up we have maybe a better Ice Rider combo, Ice Rider Koraidon. I think it's better. I think it's A tier. We had a really creative team do super well at Worlds in Hirofumi's team with the Smeargle, Calyrex, Koraidon, Rillaboom team. I think that shit is so saucy, and I think it's definitely A tier.
Yeah, I thought it was such a sick team. I think that he just like kind of called the meta. They whipped out something so saucy in the tournament. It did really, really well. It also got top cut with Suika as well. So there were 2 in cut, and it did finish top 4. I don't know, the combo just
did Suika cut with it?
Oh no, maybe it was top 32. I think it was top 32. So
yeah, I think nobody else cut with it, but there were some strong finishes. Yeah, Suika got 32nd, so 73, still a phenomenal run. And I think that team had some hidden sauce. There was a little troop running it, and yeah, I think it has a lot of potential. This is kind of its breakout finish for it, but it's kind of just like what we talked about. Koraidon's so powerful in the format, and I think there needs to be new ways for Ice Rider to function, and this is one of them.
Yeah, and I think the calls they made with all the support Pokemon were genius as well. An incredibly bulky Landorus, max speed Rillaboom was kind of crazy. And then it was like
Ruination Smeargle, bro.
Ruination Smeargle, which was such a cool move. They were tearing up the ladder prior to the tournament, so I think it just kind of opened a lot of people's minds. Even before that, though, there was other players using this combo. This was a kind of a saucy combo going to Worlds. I remember Shade Vieira won a huge 300 person like offline tournament in Japan, where actually we had some Americans, some Europeans attend that tournament as well, and so it was just a grassroots for the love of the game, and Shade Vieira won with this combo as well with a Raging Bolt, Flutter Mane, and Chi Yu, I believe. So it was a little bit
Yeah, I
more
was testing
offensive.
that.
Yeah, we were thinking about bringing it because it was a very cool team. So I think there is other ways to explore it, but I think Hirofumi's like Smeargle version was just so sick, and I think that it just kind of I think Ice Rider, you have to think of him a little differently. And I think the Leech Seed set is a perfect example of that. Whereas, like, I think of Ice Rider as just a pivot. I don't think of him, I don't try to set up sweeps with him. I'm not trying to win the game with Ice Rider. He's just meant to take hits and to take a beating and to chip things down with Leech Seed and Glacial Lance. And I think that's what that team really did, right? Like, sometimes they would open up with Koraidon Smeargle. I watched a couple of their stream games. They would try to do a lot of damage, break open the game, and then try to clean up with Ice Rider. Or they would say, hey, it's not looking good for Koraidon right now. I'm going to swap into my Ice Rider, let him take a beating, and then he'll heal back up, and I'll use him to start, chunking things so that potentially later Koraidon can clean up. I think it's a really cool team, and I think Ice Rider is just very much like, I don't want to call him supportive by any means, but I think like that super bulky Leech Seed Ice Rider is still very good, and this team makes good use of it.
Yeah, and giving the spread coverage to Koraidon is really helpful too, because you don't really usually like having two single targeting restricted. Obviously, it did win Worlds, but I think it does do a lot for it. And it's kind of funny with the next duo we have in Calyrex-Groudon. Even though Groudon is a significantly less powerful Pokemon, this tends to lean more offensive. I feel like you run Jump Pluff, you run like a more offensive mode with it just to take advantage of its insane bulk. You actually lean into the offense because you're winning the damage trades, right? And I see you insta-locked it in C tier. I think it might be B.
You think
But
this
it does
is
have a
B?
Groudon.
You know,
It does have a Groudon.
I do think it's probably about as good as this. I really do agree. It's like, I mean, Justin made me a believer, right? Like, it's really scary. And I think, like, for me, Groudon is very good. I think a lot of the Pokemon in the format hate seeing this guy coming, right? Even Koraidon doesn't really enjoy Groudon that much because usually they run Terra Fire, so they're able to eat the Flare Blitz. And then if you Terra Fire Koraidon at any point, Groudon is waiting and he's ready to fucking go, right? So I think like on paper, it seems so good, but then I feel like when you play in tournament and you just miss, it feels bad. Yeah, and that's the problem.
I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you remember, but the actual main Smeargle team on ladder was a Groudon Ice Rider team.
Fake out TR, right?
That might have been. I don't even.
I think that was their ult. I think that was their ult. Yeah.
Yeah, and that went 7-3 at Worlds. And then Justin Tang, our boy, also went 7-3 at Worlds. So I think it's pretty strong, and it's not better than B tier. But if you hit your moves, sometimes it's like, what am I supposed to do? I can't actually break this.
Yeah, and like we were actually testing Groudon a lot prior to Worlds as well. That was like the first thing that we were like, hey, dude, we should consider this guy. And I remember spending not a lot of time on Groudon, but we did think about him a lot. And like one of the things too is like I think Jump Love plus Groudon is really incredible because it just like shuts down CSR Zama. If you hit the Sleep Powder, there's nothing they can really do, right? Like if you hit Sleep Powder on Shadow Rider, they lose the game. They can't fake you out. They can't taunt you. Well, they can taunt you, but they don't. It's really fast. Jump Off's very fast, right? And then Zamazenta can't. He doesn't like getting Sleep Powdered either. So I think it's just like it's so good into that top team. And then obviously the second best team's got Miraidon, which Groudon loves as well. So I think there is like I think we could see this team win a regional. It's just like they need to get the circumstances need to line up and they need to hit their moves. And I think that's just
I'm not gonna play. It's B tier, dude. It's not worse than these Pago scores. It's. I think it's better. Like I think it's absolutely B tier.
I think it's chilling. I think it's probably. I think it's right here. Like these two are probably like pretty interchangeable. I think it could do well, and I think it does. Yeah. I think what's cool too is like Ice Rider. Like the way he works with Kyogre is very similar to Groudon, where it's like, hey, I'm gonna set up Trick Room for you. We'll start sweeping, but he doesn't need Trick Room, right? And those partners are usually very, very fast. And Justin ran a really cool team with Imprison as well to stop the enemy Glacial Lances. So I think there's a lot of ways you can go.
Calyrex-Ice Groudon's had in prison for some reason. I mean, we know why, but both of them ran it, so it's kind of what you do when you run Groudon, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. And then next up we have Calyrex-Ice Miraidon. How do you feel about this one? I'm honestly kind of a hater. I'm kind of a hater on this one.
It's a king who's fallen from grace, you
Yeah,
know.
dude.
He was once at the top of my heart, but now it's just like, dude, you're just not good enough. You're not cutting it, and it's okay, dude. It's okay.
Yeah.
You had a good run. It's time to take a seat, Gramps. I think it's not even A tier anymore. I
don't
think
think
it's
so
straight
either.
up. I think it might be the top of B. Uh, but I'm not giving up in that. Like, I think I wouldn't be surprised if someone found a way to innovate it. It's just so tough. I feel like the synergy that they have, the Bolt Beam Speed Sandwich, is too good not for it to always have that potential. But there needs to be some serious rethinking about how to run it, because right now I think everyone who's kind of a main is exhausted. I ran it at Worlds and I'm just exhausted. Every match felt like a slog. Every match felt like had to work so hard. And right now it's just kind of stuck, dude. It's a rusty engine right now. I don't know how engines work. It's rusty. I don't know.
Yeah, because I feel like day one, right? This is where I would have put it, right? They would have been right next to each other.
Oh,
But
absolutely.
now, and this guy would have been like not even existing. But now it is really like it's probably at the top. I feel like Ice Rider is just kind of struggling, right? Like with Koraidon being very, very good. I mean, we even saw Hero Fumi run low kick, which I think is very annoying for Ice Rider as well. There's just a lot of annoying Pokemon. Zamazenta, Lunala, they all have techs just naturally built in lately. And he just gets kind of like, he gets caught in the crosshairs of the Shadow Rider because a lot of the things that work well in the Shadow Rider, like Wide Guard, work well into him. Incineroar works well to this guy. Works well into this guy. So, I don't know. I do think you're right. It needs a major shakeup. But I think luckily for them, there are a lot of people who do like this core and like these two Pokemon. So I could totally see like it doing well in the future.
And if they fix it, I'm the first guy to jump back on it. Like I love them together, but even I am like a little tired right now, and maybe I need a break. Maybe I'm the problem, but right now you're gonna have to be in the B tier.
Yeah, I think it sits in the B tier. And then next up we have Lunala and Groudon. This one is like a stretch. I think it's
It's
probably
definitely
C.
C.
Yeah, it's like probably the worst core, but like it kind of is similar-ish, right? I think to Ice Rider, whereas like these two do have that exceptional synergy. You can Trick Room, you can set up like a Tailwind Jump Off team with them as well. Again, Groudon does enable the Pro Synthesis mons, but I think you're just better off using Koraidon in any like over Groudon always.
Loki, let's not even put it on the list, dude. Like I think
Send it
it's
to the
not worth it. Yeah, I think we sent it to the realm. Its
yeah.
best finish at Worlds was 222nd, I think.
Yeah.
Maybe it's only finish at Worlds. I think it's just no. There's a couple that went 3-5. So yeah, I think it's
Nice,
just like
nice.
not even worth it.
It's a 3-5 warrior team. Should
Yeah,
we also
like so
send these guys out of here then?
it did kind of do well at nationals, and also a lot more Miraidon Groudon at Worlds. In fact, Joe UX9 actually used it at Worlds. I think
That's
it's better for
right.
sure. I think it's C tier. I think it's as good as those other guys. Definitely, Koraidon Terapagos. I think it's probably as good as Miraidon Groudon. Um, yeah,
Fair
I
enough.
think I think this one has a little bit more going for it, just because Miraidon is so good, and so is the synergy it has. For some reason works really well. I lost to this at NAIC actually. Um,
Mm.
I just think for some reason this works better. Like being able to run Fluttermane as well. I just think the Sun mode really works, and you don't have two dragons like you do with Miraidon Koraidon.
Yeah, it also is like matches up pretty well into again like the common things, right? Like it's good in a Koraidon, you can force that Terra much easier. It's also very good into Ice Rider Miraidon as well, back when they were
Yeah.
kings of the format. So I can see it. I can see them being like slightly positive, right? And I think Joe did have screens, right, with Grimmsnarl. And I think Grimmsnarl does make them really difficult to KO. Yeah, it's kind of like a neat. I feel like you just are like, hey, I'm not trying to like make reads or anything. I'm gonna set up screens and trade with you. And because I have screens and this big Groudon, I'm chilling. And I feel like that's the nature of that team.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's honestly the quintessential C tier restricted duo.
Yeah, I think so too. These guys are just fucking annoying. I think they're, I they kind of work, but I feel like it's just like it just feels like bullshit every time I play them, right? I'm like, dude, you ran this? You have these guys? Like, you don't even have Zacian? Like, they just feel so obnoxious together, right? Like, it's like, come on, dude, I actually pulled this. But I do think that it can snipe some matchups, right? And it can be very good into, again, Calyrex plus Miraidon is one that comes to mind. This gets far
Yeah,
away.
as a CIR, sorry, Calyrex Ice Ride and Miraidon player, this is my demon. This is the
Yeah.
worst thing you can play. I also lost to this at NAIC, and it did end up going 7-3 at Worlds, finishing top 32. So
Really?
I think there is a lot of potential. Again, not sure how it fares into a very Koraidon heavy format. That's what it doesn't have going for it. But I think if the meta trends slightly differently, it is really strong and underexplored because it also pairs really well with things like Amoonguss and Chen Pao. I think
Mm.
that four as a core is actually really strong. And
And annoying.
yeah, I'm for some reason like kind of a big fan of this core. I really want to see it do well. I don't know if it quite breaks into B tier, but I think it might be the best C tier. What do you? Is it B tier? You think it's B tier?
I
World?
don't think it's B. I mean, like, I almost want to move this guy down a little bit. But, like, at the same time, it
Both
did.
the Pagos?
Mostly this one. I think this one's worse than this one. This one's annoying, dude. No matter how you slice it, this one will always, like, it's going to find you in a tournament and you're going to lose to it.
Yeah, maybe. Honestly, the Pollen Puff shit that it runs is also really annoying with it. So
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. I'm okay with beefing up the C tier a little.
I like this. I like this more. But yeah, I think these guys are really good. I think that it definitely has potential to jump up to B, depending on how the meta shakes up. Like, again, it's very good at like finding those matchups. And I think, like you said, like Xianpao Mungus is so disgusting with it, and it is so obnoxious to deal with. Kyogre's just like, it's just a weird Pokemon in this format. Because I think it's still pretty good. Like, it's still super usable. I'm a huge fan of Kyogre. It's just like, it can miss.
Yeah.
And the new Pokemon can't miss. Like, literally every top team just like has 100% accurate. Like, I mean, okay, Draco Meteor can miss, and that does play into it, right? But for the most part, right, Miraidon is just smacking you with Electro Drift. So, and then finally, we have the World Champion team. This one's kind of interesting because if you would have asked me this question before Worlds, like if we made this tier list before Worlds, I would have probably put this shit. I think I would have put it bottom of B, right?
I might have even put it C, man.
I used it, so I believe in it a little bit more because I do think they do.
Wait,
have
actually,
really
yeah,
good
yeah. I was a big fan when the format started, but in that way, like, I was also a fan of Miraidon Lunala. I used it like at the first tournament as well. Basically, had the winning team. So, I think we saw Lunala's worth pretty fast.
Yeah.
Like after actually playing. I think it's definitely an A tier at 1. I just don't think it's S tier because it's not crazy flexible.
Yeah.
But I think the lesson that we can all take from Geo's Worlds win is that if you stick to your guns and you practice so much and get so comfortable that you know what to do in every matchup and every situation because you've seen it before, you can win everything. Like he beat every single matchup he played at Worlds. He went 14-1, and the one loss he had, he beat again in Top Cut. So I don't think it's
That's
just
insane.
the restricted duo is broken.
Holy shit.
I think it's that he knew exactly what he wanted to do, and I think it has that potency. I think it's definitely A tier because Lunala is a beast as well. Like, let's not count it out. But honestly, Koraidon's just in such a good place. I don't think it's quite as consistent as these other two. I have it at A tier.
I think you're right. I agree with everything you said. I think what's so crazy about it too is like Geo in the first tournament he played it in was Milwaukee, and he had Terra Fairy, Ursaluna, and Covert Cloak Brute Bonnet, right? And then after that tournament, he played in 2 more tournaments prior to Worlds, and he top cut them both. He got top 8 into top 16 at NAIC. And he made 1 change. He made 2 changes after that, right? And so the team, he used his Worlds team in 2 events prior. It's just so nuts, right? Like, he just literally was like, listen to me. This team is the play every single time. And you're like, Geo, man, maybe it's not, you know? But he's like, no, trust me, it is. And then it pays off, right? Like, it's such an interesting story. Like, it reminds me a lot of Luca Ceribelli as well. Like, when I saw his, like, because, like, obviously once they win, you're like, oh shit, like, what were these finishes? And I think Geo was really revving up, right? Because he finished 5th in NA in CP prior to Worlds, right? And he got a free trip to Worlds and to LAIC. So he clearly was on a heater, but it just was like he wasn't winning. So I think it was just like, hey, I'm not going to pay attention, right? I do remember. I do remember the week or two before Worlds. I played against this team on ladder, and I was like, dude, maybe it's the call.
Speaking to you.
Dude, I was like,
Yeah.
dude, I'm like, there's no way though, right? This team's day one. There's no way it's that good, right? And I played a couple ladder games with it. I was feeling pretty good, but I didn't have the balls to commit, right? And I didn't have the time invested like Gio did. But I do think like any of these cores, like if you just spend the time with them, and you commit to it, I think you could win a tournament with all of them, right? Especially regional.
Yeah, and there's another example that comes to mind, which is actually 2019 Worlds with Naoto. Because he did the same, funnily, with Lunala Groudon, actually. He did the same thing, where he ran that exact team at Japan Nats, and because he didn't win, people didn't give it the respect it deserved, and then he came to Worlds with the exact same team. I don't remember if he even changed anything, and he won the whole thing. And, I mean, we ran a very similar team in the post-Worlds format. We had that, we just changed one Pokemon. But we were like, dude, what were we thinking? This is so strong. It's so flexible. Like, and this is just another one of those cases where you keep practicing and you find out new lines. You find out new avenues. You know, you just did this with your top cut in Seattle, your Cresselia Bear team. You stuck with it even if you didn't, win the last tournament because you got better and you realized more openings. And yeah, I mean, yeah, this is the one. This is the final one. And I think it's A tier. I think it's the perfect spot for it.
I think, too, another thing to note about this team specifically is that I think a lot of players found out how strong it was after he wins with it, right? Like, because after you win, you're like, oh, it's the world champ team. It's got to be good. And I saw a lot of Japanese players getting top of the ladder with this team, those same 6 Pokemon. So I do expect... What?
Who's playing, though, after Worlds?
Oh, the Japanese guys. They're always still playing, dude. They're always trying so hard. Like, I think getting rank 1 is really difficult, even when there is, like, not an official format for the in-game ladder.
That's true.
They love it, dude. But, I did see this team
just
do really
so
well.
much offense on the team. It's, like, impossible to not, like, have an out.
And I expect going into the first tournament, you need to be ready for it. Because, like, it's really funny that it's come full circle where it's like, I felt like at Milwaukee, this was one of the teams to beat. It, like, popped up so quick. I was like, Raghav, we need a good matchup in this. We need to know what we're doing, right? And then as time went on, you're like, who cares about that team, right? But then it wins Worlds, and now we're back up, right? It's like,
we're
dude.
Back.
Like, if I was going to Orlando, I would lab this matchup a lot. Because I think that a lot of people are just going to be like, hey, world champion team, why wouldn't you use it? So I definitely think it's A. I thought about it. I really hope Gio plays in a tournament with this team. I want to see it happen again. I think it would be kind of sick to see. Dude, like, yeah, like if you won a regional, I think it'd be sick. Like, even if he just gets top cut, I want to see the master at work. Yeah. So I think 100%. It'd be really cool. I hope he goes to one. We'll have to see. But yeah, that's our list. I think it's pretty solid. I think right now, the post Worlds meta, a year, 6 months later, it definitely feels like this is where it is, and I think you do need to respect these teams. I think these teams will be good. These are definitely huge winners, right? Like, these didn't really... None of these 3 probably would have been A tier necessarily going into Worlds, but after Worlds, you need to respect them.
Yeah, I wouldn't have put any of them above Miraidon, Ice Rider, straight up.
Yeah.
But it's the truth. Koraidon is here.
Yep, Koraidon is so good, and I love Koraidon, so I'm a little bit excited to play Red Guy.
You're insane. You're a psychopath.
Dude, you kind of have to be a little bit insane, because I feel like if you're a little insane and you're like, I want to play no matter what format it is, like, you fake it until you make it, right? And then if you keep telling yourself that, you'll actually have fun. That's my tip
I'll try it. I'm so excited to use Koraidon Ice Rider.
Yeah, exactly. It's going to be great. It's going to be great. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed our tier list, and we'll see you next time.
Peace.